I happen to be a psychiatrist by profession, but I would like to think of myself as a social worker because the work which is closest to my heart is what I, along with my wife, Dr. Smitha, also a psychiatrist, and a couple of other psychiatrists, and a couple of philanthropists are involved with. We have set up an NGO called Shraddha Rehabilitation Foundation, which is dealing exclusively with the cause of the wandering, mentally ill, roadside destitutes on the streets of India. Starting off in 1988, over the years, we have rescued 10,000 plus wandering mentally ill. However, today, I would like to discuss with you as to what goes into true social work. I believe from the bottom of my heart that emotions are the bedrock and the driving force behind social work. Citing our own example, I and my wife were sitting in a restaurant having breakfast when across the road, we saw a boy, long matted hair, disheveled appearance, speaking to himself, gesturing. We could make out that he was having a mental illness called schizophrenia. Believe it or not, at that point of time, we did not think of doing anything for him. Until he actually picked up an empty coconut shell, dipped it into the gutter water beyond, brought it to his mouth, and drank the entire gutter water at a single shot. That was emotional churning for us. Here we were on this side of the road in a civilized world, and there he was on the other side of the road drinking gutter water. We reached out to him and rescued him. That boy turned out to be English speaking and a graduate. Upon further inquiry, it was revealed that his father was also English speaking and a Zilla Parishad superintendent of Andhra Pradesh. The father came down by flight from Hyderabad to take his son back. The joy of that first reunion gave us the impetus to go forward. A few years down the line, we came across a lecturer from JJ School of Arts. The very thought that a lecturer from the prestigious, elite, renowned, famous JJ School of Arts, one of the premier institutes of Asia, was on the roads because of mental illness, got us by the gut. We reached out to him and rescued him. That boy improved to the point that we could actually reinstate him in his job in JJ School of Arts. The case became famous. The case became famous to the extent that it emotionally resonated with the entire art fraternity across India. To the extent that we could have a fundraising art exhibition in Jahangir Art Gallery in 1993. 141 artists from across India and abroad contributed their paintings. Manu Parekh, Madhvi Parekh, Anjali Menon, Bikash Bhattacharya, Paritosh Sen, S.H. Raza, Ghulam and Nilima Sheikh, T. Vaikuntham, Yusuf Arakkal, Lalita Lajmi, Ramesh Rao, you name it, all the artists contributed. Now, why did they contribute? They contributed because they believed in the emotionality of that entire cause and believed that their contributions could save lives. This is emotions taking social work the distance. Going further, in 2004, we decided to meet up with a legendary social worker, Baba Amte. His work with the leprosy afflicted was folklore. Baba Amte was staying with his son, Prakash Amte, in Himalkasa, in the Gadchiroli district in Maharashtra. Crossing the dense jungles of Gadchiroli, we came across a boy who was both hands, both legs in chains. Both hands, both legs in chains. It was a macabre sight. We could make out that he too was suffering from schizophrenia. 1,000 kilometers away from home, we decided to do nothing for him. Until the setting sun, the encompassing darkness, my emotionality, my conscience, my feelings got the better of me and I did a U-turn. And the boy agreed to get into the car. Both his hands and both his legs were in chains. He was passing urinary motions in his clothes since God knows when. He was stinking badly. I had a scissor with me. I cut off all his clothes. We had a blanket with us. We draped it around him and put him into the car and proceeded to Hemalkasa. Upon reaching Hemalkasa, we requested Prakash Amte to remove the chains. Again, emotionality entering the picture. Prakash Amte called for a chisel and a hammer and actually removed the chains personally. It was a delicate job. The next day morning, I got up early at 4:30 and went down to the veranda to find Baba Amte was awake and he was crying. He was weeping profusely. I asked him what happened. He said, the whole night I could not sleep, thinking as to how could society do this, as to put a boy in chains and leave him to fend for himself. And he said, you have done good, Bharat, you have done good. That tenderness, that compassion, that empathy from a man who had already received the Padma Shri, the Padma Vibhushan, the Raymond Magsaysay Award, the Templeton Prize, the United Nations Prize, the Gandhi Peace Prize, was for me emotional exposure at the ultimate level. That morning changed the direction of my life. Baba Amte was responsible for us setting up the Shraddha Rehabilitation Center at Karjat in District Raigad in Maharashtra in the year 2006. In the year 2006, we had rescued only 47 wandering mentally ill. In the 2 years which have just gone by, the year before COVID and the year after COVID, in 2 consecutive years, we have picked up, treated, and reunited with their families across the length and breadth of India, 1,000 plus wandering mentally ill. In 2 consecutive years. This is where emotionality can take you. The Shraddha team does not believe in rational logic and rational thought. It believes in functioning from emotions and from their hearts. And their hearts tell them that there, across the road, sits the wandering mentally ill. And here, on this side of the road, sit we, ensconced, protected in our safe space, living our private lives, individual lives. What great good, what great deeds had we done to be on this side of the road? And what great evil and what great wrong had they done to be on the other side of the road? It was just a matter of luck. That's it. Giving you the statistics of India. 27 million people in India are physically handicapped. 110 million people are tribals. As per different poverty indices, 228 million people are below the poverty line. And as per a NIMAN study, 197 million people are mentally ill and 30 million of them are severely mentally ill. Now, given this vast contrast and disparity, why do anything for anyone? Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, the drafter of the Constitution of India, has written a book, The Buddha and His Dhamma, in which he writes, men are born unequal. Some are well-to-do, others are poor. Some have more capacity, more intelligence, others have less. Some are robust, others are weaklings. And all of us have to enter into the struggle for existence. If in this struggle for existence, if inequality be recognized as the rule of the game, then the weakest shall be pushed against the wall. The weakest shall be pushed against the wall. Now the fundamental question is this fair? Is this just? Is this humane? Is this compassion? Is this empathy? Is this brotherhood? Is this fraternity? Is this love? And above all, is this the guiding hand of God telling us to do all this? Is this what we have read in all the religious scriptures written all over the world across centuries? I don't think so. I don't think so. Going back to the connect between emotions and true social work. We had a social worker called Izar Zaman. He went to an NGO to pick up the wandering mentally ill. He was moved by seeing a person over there who was gaunt, emaciated, skin and bones, HIV positive, immunocompromised, but with a son who was 6 years old. He was so moved that without bothering to ask me my consent, he brought the father and son duo into our Karjat center. I reached next day to Karjat and I was aghast. Izar explained to me the emotionality behind the whole situation. I was so touched by his gesture that I said, let's go further. 1 week of intravenous fluids and vitamins, and that patient recovered to the extent that the same Izar Zaman, along with another social worker, could actually physically pick him up and take him to his remote village in Madhya Pradesh. A fortnight later, that gentleman expired, succumbing to HIV. But the kid survived. That son was reunited with his family. This is where emotions can take you. Emotions, emotions, emotions. Now the final question is this: where do we go from here? What is the takeaway of this entire talk? I believe that this is a call for action from my side. Swami Vivekananda has said, arise, awake and stop not till your goal is reached. I say arise, awake and stop not till you have done your best for the underprivileged within society. Not just for the wandering mentally ill, but for each and every person who is down and out, below the poverty line, emotionally fragile, emotionally raw, in emotional pain. Not just in your country, but across the globe. Across the globe. That is the takeaway of this entire talk. Rabindranath Tagore has written, into that heaven of freedom, my father, let my country awake. But for that to happen, all of us have to do our collective bit. We have to have a collective dream, a collective hope, a collective faith, a collective prayer, a collective offering, a collective vision, a collective anthem, and above all, a collective nirvana. Because there, but for the grace of a God above, go I. There, but for the grace of a God above, go you. Because at the end of the day, this could be me, this could be you, this is us. This is us. This is us. And these are the emotions which will take us into the domain of true, actual giving and lead us unto the light. Thank you.